really do. Welcome back to Whispers by Jelly. Jelly. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing video number two. One, two. In my video series on stress. sessions discussing things that we noticed, things that were uncomfortable. And I would say at the time, body scans were the hardest for me because at the time I had some health stuff going on, and to me there was nothing more uncomfortable than paying closer attention to my body. But I got better at this, and is not just sitting there in silence all day. We had a sitting meditation, and then we would transition to a yoga meditation, and then we would transition to a walking meditation, and then we would transition to a body scan. So it kept it, I felt pretty good about it because we were able to transition to different types of meditation, and it wasn't just one thing, awareness itself